my wife and I are moving after August to a bungalow. Certain disabilities make our present home unsuitable. Alan very generously asked me if I would like to do a sort of series of short farewell talks for the 6 Friday services online before he and Leslie take their holiday. I had suggested prayer as a topic, whoever was going to take the series, and he approved this. I will be making use of some episodes in my life. We've sung the hymn, Father, hear the prayer we offer, and there's a line in it, not for ease that prayer shall be. As a light touch to begin with, this brought back a memory. Shortly before Sue and I got married, we found our hymns clashed. I had chosen Father, hear the prayer we offer, and she had chosen the Lord's my shepherd, and her prayer was green pastures and all that. After 63 years of marriage, I think I know whose prayer was answered. So, the series will include today the Lord's Prayer, then the prayer of the will, some pitfalls, the prayer of silence, the prayer of the Mother of Jesus and the saints, and prayer without ceasing. So we start today with the Lord's Prayer. The teaching on prayer was transmitted orally at first, and 2 traditions emerged, one in Matthew and one in Luke. Some scholars found that if they translated the Greek back into Aramaic, which is what Jesus in ordinary converse would have used, amazingly, they ended up with 2 poems in Aramaic with different structures. Poems are easier to transmit, or rather it's easier to memorize poetry. The theory is far from ridiculous. Today's gospel was the version from Matthew. The sequence is interesting. Many, if not most, believers embark on their pilgrimage of prayer by asking for something. Deliver us from evil. Do not put me to the test. Forgive my sins, as I forgive somewhat tardily later. Give me daily sustenance, bread in all sorts of meanings. We need bread to live, not that we live to eat bread. Bread sustains life, not what pampers it, as one of the early fathers put it. So we slowly move upwards, and then further upwards till we reach honouring God for his own nature and not asking for anything. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. We have arrived by getting to the top of a Welsh mountain. This is the view from the top. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. The word name in the Bible means the inner essential essence. It is revered and awesome. It was a bit like an ID or a PIN number. In some cultures, the name was not to be shared. Other people with malicious intention could damage you if they knew your name. So we move on upwards. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. But Jesus starts with the person who has arrived. That is the goal. Our Father who art in heaven. That's the challenge. When Jesus answered the request for teaching, in this version at least, in Matthew, he gives some general warnings. Frequent repetition does not add significance. Doubtless that was common in some of the religions of the Middle East. But elsewhere, Jesus does use the example of a widow who wore the judge out by her persistence and perseverance. And he uses it to illustrate that God would respond to a request for the Holy Spirit much more readily. The teaching is not contradictory. Different situations require different responses. Then Jesus starts where most of us leave off. So it is a prayer for the person who has arrived. A supreme ascent of divine truth is how one ancient Christian writer put it. Another point is, it is a community prayer. Jesus often refers to my Father. In John's Gospel alone, more than 30 times, my Father. When he approaches the Father in prayer, when he talks about the works that his Father is requiring of him, and so on. Over 30 times. But in answer to the disciples' questions, he says, our Father. There is overall an attitude of humility. And so, one of the early Christians put it rather well. Let us make him our teacher on prayer. Amen.